Onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Good, okay. Just a little bit of side to side movement. Nice and light. Just start nice and small. Just shifting the weight. Keeping the back nice and long. Working with a nice swaying through the spine. Just really feel the weight as it swings across into one leg. Feel one leg fill and the other leg empty, or one foot filling and one foot be kind of empty. Just explore it and try and really keep the connection into the ground. Good. And then start to really open the movement out a little bit and slightly hold it. So just one side. Just let the body sink. Don't push the body over. Just let the weight sink down. And then when you feel it's got to kind of maximum, you start to pull the body back. So try and really incorporate the weight of the body. So with no sense of really kind of pushing the body or pulling the body, just let it go as if you're kind of falling through it. Let's pull it back and then go to the other side. And a little bit like when we do with the weapons work, we tend to focus on the front and lose the back. In this case, when we do these kind of moves, the tendency is to kind of lose this part of the body. So we tend to kind of crunch the body down and kind of lose it. So it kind of maintain, open the whole body whilst keeping a kind of flexibility. So try and really lengthen. Think of really consciously opening both sides of the body as you do it. And really use the weight of the arms. Just drag the body down a little bit. That's good. And do the same thing, just start to open the movement out a little bit. And you're basically going to add a rotation into this. So normally we kind of separate the movements. We'll work with kind of combining them a little bit. So you've got this kind of swaying sideways lateral movement, and you've got the rotation movement this way. But just start to kind of combine them a little bit. So you're going to go a little bit with a spiral into the movement. It's a little bit more complex in terms of the body and the balance. You feel a little bit more pressure now in one foot, and you'll feel it in a different area in the foot. So just be aware of the foot. So just explore a little bit how the weight feels in the foot. Because now you're rotating through the body, you might find that the knee starts to lock or the hip starts to lock up. So just play with, if you can, creating space through the whole joint. So a sense of draining down into the ground without locking the joints up. So you can play a little bit now with these. And one way to kind of check the connection is just to slightly pulse through the movement. So if I can kind of pulse through it, in these kind of positions, and I'm a bit more free. If I can't, it's generally because I'm holding the body in tension. So especially the lower body, I want to kind of pulse just a little bit into the knee or through the knee. So there should be a sense of kind of bounce still in the knee. Even when I'm in these kind of extreme positions, kind of here, there's still a sense that I can find some sense of balance. Also playing now with opening out to the back a little bit. And not too much, it's quite a tough movement for the spine. Kind of curling backwards. just a little bit. And as long as I keep this kind of connection through the spine into the ground, the body's kind of supported. So start to play a little bit with this. And also play, in this case, as you come over to the back, you can start to work into the toes, the feet. So playing a little bit with bringing the heels off the ground. Gives me a bit more flexibility. That's it. And then just start to loosen it off now, just coming into a kind of a pure rotation movement. Letting the arms loose. And just trying to create a little bit more freedom in the spine. And again, really looking to look for tension and try and release it. Especially now in the hip area and the knees. Try and have a sense of space in the joints. And just play in this case, keep the rotation, but just have it include a little bit of a tilt with the pelvis. So this is a little bit including the movement we've got in this movement. We're starting to work really from the pelvis. So just start to include a little bit now, a sense of releasing the pelvis. Easier to do forwards, but you can also do backwards. It's a little bit more complicated. But just play with a little bit. You've got a rotation and an added kind of tilt from the pelvis. And feel really as you go forward, the hips going to kind of start to stretch away from each other. So you're really now trying to create space between the two hips. So there's a sense of the hips kind of revolving away from each other. So you're basically increasing now the spiral. And you can also play a little bit easier to do this, just with a little bit wider feet. So we normally do these exercises in shoulder width apart, but you can do these exercises in actually any position on the ground. But you might find this hip tilt because if I'm a bit wider, I've got much more flexibility range in the hips. So just play a little bit with this. Release a bit more down. It's a little bit like I'm coming into a squat now. Release the hands towards the ground. So they're now going to really release, release, release. And we usually do them from shoulder width apart because this is the easiest way to find them. You start to change the position, you start to increase the stress on the body and the possibility to kind of release tension is a bit harder. But we've done them a lot, so we can explore them a bit more. Good. And then from this position, keeping the feet wide, I just want you to release the hands down. So really now just working on the pelvis. Just release the hands, the arms, and just let them swing. The main direction now isn't the swing, it's actually the down. So it's actually releasing the pelvis and releasing the shoulders at the top. Yeah, and I'm basically going to pulse through the body a little bit. Maybe shift this way. Slightly release the hips, release the arms, and just pulse the weight through the feet. Keep the shoulders nice and loose. And just start to basically don't swing the arms, but start to tilt the pelvis like we just done. So start to tilt the pelvis, and the effect of that is the arms are going to start to swing. So I'm going to kind of tilt through the pelvis, shift the weight into the heel, and bend the knee. And in this case, just be aware of the neck. There tends to be, if I hold tension in the neck, it'll start to limit the movement. So just try and release as much as you can the head and the neck. Good. And from the same position, I want you to now start to work the arms out. So what you're going to do now is the same, but you're going to kind of pull the hips out. Pull the hips out. And what that means is the arms are going to start to work in a circle. So I'm trying to pass a circle through the arms without trying to rotate the arms. Just let them swing and open. So this is a slightly different way of doing the opening and closing exercise. So you've got this closing of the hips and then an opening. Closing and then opening. That's it. That's it. Good. Keep going. it. That's it. Good. Okay, and then I want you to do the same thing. Bring the legs back in together. Don't really straighten the knees, but the knees are a bit more, the legs are more straight without being kind of rigid in the leg. And just look for the same position. So I want to tilt from the hips, release the shoulders, and just start to work in circles through the arms. So you feel a slightly different position. Because now the base is smaller, it feels a bit more tricky. We'll also start to work the legs. Keep the legs free, so you're going to go from a kind of bent, slight bent position in the knees to a slightly more straightened position. So think of the weight now rocking in the foot. It's going to go from the heel, just pressing through towards the toes. And if you can, in this way, work both directions with the arms. So both circling movements. Good. And then from here, what you're going to do is this. You're going to start to move the arms out to the side. So there's now a sense of doing this. So now you're going to really open the body up and then close the body down. Open the body up and then close the body down. And now I want you to just start to increase the movement by bringing the body up to a vertical. But start slowly by basically pulling the body up a little bit at a time. So you're going to kind of increase the swing, feel the body releasing more, a little bit like a bird flapping off the ground. You come up more, until you get to kind of full vertical. That's it. And then once you've got to a kind of full vertical, just maintain it. Sink into the ground. And this is basically a variation on the body swing that we do with the arms. So it's the same movement with the hips. But I'm just using a slightly different movement with the arms. So really straight and create length and then release it. Straight and create length, release. That's it. And then just start to make them a little bit smaller. Okay, we're just going to work the hips a little bit. Just working in circles. And again, just feel the weight of the body as it shifts between the feet. And try and make a biggest circle as you can make. And the other way. And now just twisting a little bit with the body, using the elbows. Just hold it a couple of seconds and then release it. Good. Extending out with the hands. And in this case, just explore with the hand work. There's a few variations you can use with the hands where I'm basically using a kind of classic movement like this. You can also use the movement like we do in a Marotado or in a Kokiho movement. So just sinking the arms down. You might find this movement's actually better for kind of grounding the body. This tends to go into kind of pulling out. So focusing on the wrist, the back of the hand, with a sense of grounding the hand in the floor. And then opening it out. And then sinking down. And what you can do in this instance with using this move is slightly more increase a sense of coming up as you come up, and then release it down as with the coil. Really come up and then coil it down. So really working with spirals, passing the spiral through the hand both ways, up and down. Feel the weight really, really sink, drain down to the ground. As if the hands really hit the floor, hit the ground. And again, just hold it a couple of seconds at the end, just to feel the body, where it is, where's the balance. That's it, good. Nice. Good. Okay, so the main thing with this kind of exercise, and also when we do the Morotodori, we'll work a little bit on it at the end, a little bit. So try and avoid doing a kind of twisting movement. So when I do this, what I want to avoid, where the body's twisting is basically when the knees are locked or the hips are locked, and I basically end up twisting the body like this. So the body's doing it's like a kind of twisting a rag or something. But I want really the sense of spiraling the whole body. So keep the legs loose and the knees loose, and or everything's going to rotate with it. So every joint of the body rotates. And if I lock it, one part of the body kind of twists, and then I create a really kind of tension with the low back. So really have the sense of everything twist. And if you need to, in this case, adjust the back foot so that I can really feel the weight spiraling down into the ground. But I should feel all the joints, everything is involved in this kind of spiraling. And again, the joint should feel nice and free. So if I have a little bit of bounce in the at the end of the movement, I know that the kind of joints are more free than not. If I'm kind of locked, this bouncing kind of will be locked. So really look for a sense of freedom in that movement. Just a few more. That's okay, good. Great. Good. Okay, good. So work a little bit of the shoulders and then come into the wrists again. So just shoulder width apart here, stretching out, opening the shoulders out. Really make sure you kind of extend out fully. So really open the extension out. And then really start to spiral through the joint. So everything again is going to kind of spiral. And again, try and involve the whole body in it. So although it's focused on the shoulders, allow the whole body to also move with it. So the chest is really involved in this. In this case, the chest is kind of opening and closing. Kind of be aware really of the shoulder blades as well, creating space. That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. Good. Okay, keeping the length in the body, just now rolling the hands. So basically working now from the elbow. And again, allow the whole body to be involved in the movement. I don't kind of lock the body and just work the arms. So try and roll through the whole body. And especially now mobilizing the fingers, the wrists, and the forearms. That's it. And just really play with how much range of motion you've got. You've got a whole lot of motion in the elbow down. Good. And then from here, just reverse the direction. So you're going to now do this, opening out, opening out. Do this nice and slow, and really also use the breath as well. So allow the breath to be nice and deep. That's good. There we go. Okay, so now just working a little bit freer with the shoulders, the arms, basically working towards the front. You're going to now do this. You're going to draw the arms out and then draw it back. Out, back, out, back. And really now working the whole arm. Allow the weight just to sit back into the heel. But again, involve the whole body in the movement. So focus on the arms, but let the movement pass through the whole body. So when you find length, extension, and then flexibility here. That's it. And then from here, just reverse it out. So you're going to now pull them out, press them out, and then draw them back. And now what you can really do is open the sides out. This way. Open the sides out to really like kind of swimming. But really great for the shoulders. That's it. Good. Okay, and then we'll just work the wrist specifically. Just taking the palms together. Good. Just opening the contact out a little bit. Working now the fingers. And the thumbs. And then just now put the fingertips together, the thumbs together, and just do this. So you're doing like this, 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 this. It's like a kind of opening and closing movement. That's it. Good. Good. Which is nice and fast with the fingers. Extending out and shooting the fingers out. Good. Nice. And also trying to mobilize the wrist as you do this as well. So the wrist is also moving, you can see. Yeah. And then making fists. And again, trying to mobilize the forearm, especially paying attention to the underside. So as if when you grab the sword, you've got this kind of motion. So I'm really focusing on the lower fingers, lower two fingers, and also the underneath of the forearm. This, yeah. As if you're grabbing something, you really want to hold it. I really want to hold it, and then I release it. Really hold it, release it, really hold it, release it. That's it. Yeah. And also feel you also engage the back with this as well. So just do this now pulsing, do it a little bit slower, and feel the center engage and also the back engages with it. So I really want to involve the whole back of the body in this movement. So without adding kind of tension in it, I want to feel the whole body. It's like the back of the body lights up. So when I grip up, which is basically the connection also now into the ground. So just play a little bit now. You've got the ground, you've got the focus in the hands, and feel that the body sinks down into the ground. And there's also a focus in the feet. So basically relaxing down into the ground whilst gripping very strongly. So it's trying to keep it's trying to get a really strong grip, a really strong sense of holding, grabbing, but also really soft in the body. So just play a little bit like here, sink the body down. And again, I should have a kind of freedom in the whole body. So it should feel very free, but also very kind of firm with the grip as well. So just the last few. Just pulse a little bit slower. Feel the contact into the lower back and grounding down the body. That's good. And then we just shake the wrist out. And include the feet as well. And the foot. Good. Okay, good kind of vertical shake and a vertical movement, kind of a frontal movement with the leg forwards. Shaking out here. Keep the elbows nice and heavy, low. That's it, and the other side. Try and release the hip as well, if you can. Sink down. Good, just shifting the weight a little bit forward, really rolling through the shoulders, the arm. Good. And then just start to bring the whole body into movement. Keep the feet nice and firm on the ground. Pulse through the body. And you become aware of the spine. The weight just sinking constantly into the ground. And just start to slow the movement down, become smaller and smaller. And smaller, just. So you stop. Good. Okay, take a jog. Okay. Good. Okay, good. So we'll just start just some nice basic ski movements from the left side, finding the balance, nice and slow, just coming forward, pulling back, coming forward, and back. And just make the movements nice and big, and really with a sense of heaviness in the body as you come forward into the ski. So really focusing on the sense of the body impacting the ground, as well as the jaw. Coming out and extending. Think of the hips, the body sinking down into the ground. Okay, nice. Good. Okay, good. And just try this exercise a little bit like we do with the sword grip, releasing through the cut. You're now going to start in the position and just release through the ski. So just allow the ski to kind of dissipate towards the front. So you're basically just focusing on the center, the feet impacting the ground. So it's just really allow me to focus on finding the ground. Finding the ground. And don't worry what happens at all with the jaw. Just release it. Just release it. That's it. And really go to the body and what's happening between the 2 feet. That's it. Okay. It's probably the way I show it as well. So just watch. In this case, try and avoid doing this dum dum and then down. Dum dum. In this case, start with the intention to make the ski, and then I just release it. So there's no element at all. In this case, I'll find in the ski and then releasing it. What you're going to do is just release totally the movement through. It's a little bit like when we do the bucket. What I don't want to do is that and then release it. That you can do this. We'll do this next. This is basically another exercise. But for now, just release it. So I just start with the intention of the movement and release it totally towards the ground. That's it. Just really try and minimize the work in the arms. That's it. Okay, good. That's it. Okay, good. Okay, good. Nice. Good. Okay, and then do this exercise. This is what I kind of showed wrongly. Do now find the ski and then release the body. Oh, hello. Release the body this way. So you should just kind of release it. Now, just try and notice what happens in the body. So a little bit like what we do in the Bokken work. It's a bit clearer with the Bokken work. Is come into a position, and then when I release it, I want the body to just drain down into the ground. And I want to avoid a sense of the body trying to refine alignment. So if my body's kind of shifting back, it means that my original position actually probably wasn't so balanced. So look for a position of balance and then just release it. And there should nothing really happens in that. I just release the arms this way. So just pay attention to what happens in the body as I release it. So if I'm kind of truly grounded or more grounded than not, there'll be kind of little effect in the rest of the body. Just work a little bit with it here. Release. Boy. Okay, good. Yeah, what's happening a little bit with some of you, it also happens to me as well. So in this case, what tends to happen with this movement is I kind of crunch the body up, and as I release the arms, I refine the extension in the neck. So the body will always want to kind of come back into alignment. It will always try and come back into length when it can. But if it's got something heavy in front of it, it'll start to kind of crunch down. And as I release that, the body wants to kind of come back into kind of length and extension. So try and find that length and extension that you come back to. Try and find it in the ski. So try not to crunch the body up. Have a sense of length and extension as I release it. That length's kind of always present. That's what the body kind of wants. So that's it. That's it. Good. Great. Nice. Very nice. Good. Good, and just explore now on the right side as well. So if you've just done the left side, just explore the ski movements again. So just kind of work it in your own time. Work with a full ski like this, and then you can just work with releasing it straight through into the ground. Or you can work with this last one, finding the thrust, and then just releasing the arms, and just work whichever side you feel you need to work. That's okay. In the case of the Joe, we're trying to make both sides the same. They should be really kind of even. I shouldn't really have a weak side with the Joe. Good. Good. Okay, good. So we just got to this transition at the front. So the left side, release the Joe, find the middle of the Joe, find the feet together, draw the body back, and really find the kamae at the back of the body. So really working each time on the back of the hip. Find the ski, roll the body in, find the ski kamae. Find the, really draw through the back. So really lining up now with the back hip. And then straight into a thrust, release, find the back. Release, find the back. That's that. So nice. Okay, good. So I'm working with the Joe a lot, working on this lateral direction. So this kind of line that runs across the body. The Joe's really great for working this line. The Bokken's best for working a sense of the vertical, so the relationship with the ground. The Bokken's really clear with it because everything you're doing is coming towards the ground. Now the Joe works really much more involved in the body and in a sense in a lateral way, right across the body this way. So just basically use this exercise. I'm just going to break it down a little bit and use in a sense of loosening the body. What I like to do is just roll in here and then release the Joe this way. But really get a sense the whole body's going to be involved in this rotation through here. So rolling through, roll into the back this way. So the key thing is this with the Joes that I don't work in a kind of frontal way. So in the Joe work, you'll notice we don't use a kind of straight hammy. So we don't use, in a sense, this kind of frontal approach. But we use a much more lateral approach. It's a bit more, the position's really like kind of holding a gun or a bow. So I do archery, the sense is really drawing out the body this way. So just use this exercise, roll in, release, and really feel the body, body's finding this lateral line. Opening out the hips. So the hips need to open, and I really need to open also the shoulders. Everything's going to kind of widen. That's it. Okay, good. Just play a little bit, open the movement out a little bit. Okay, good. Don't worry so much what the arms are doing. Focus really on the body, on the core of the body. And especially now the hips, the relationship between the hips and the shoulders. You want a really strong movement in the left and the right shoulder. Everything's stretched out. Okay, good. Huh. Okay, good. And this is kind of a cheat. I'll show you a cheat. It's kind of doing this. This is basically where the body's kind of moving like this way. It's kind of, I'm actually moving side to side. What I really trying to explore in this case, the body coiling through the movement. So I think of the core of the body is kind of actually, in this case, quite static. And I'm really gonna spiral the sides of the body. So it's really a rotational movement rather than I don't know what this is, like a kind of turning movement. It's basically use the body like a block, like a spinning motion. But what I want to do is really coil the body. So really focus on this case. One of them really has a sense of freedom, and the other has a sense of less freedom, more. That's it. Okay, good. Good. That's it. Good. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, and just bring the hands now back into it, and really focus now on finding the back of the jaw. Really, the focus. I've got strong extension forward, but it's really rooted in the back of the body. So opening the body out to the back, coiling in, and really finding this position. Now, the moment I start to just work exclusively in the front, starts to look like this. So really try and include the back of the body, which in the case of the jaw means opening the sides of the body, really opening out laterally. Yeah, good. Nice. Yes, good. Good. And just come back into, again, making a ski each time. So the key now, again, is this sense of maintaining the length. So you really use this position to kind of refine the length or refine the feeling of the length of the body. There's a tendency, again, for the jaw to kind of crunch into the body. And then I basically maintain that sense of crunching through the movement. And then I get smaller and smaller and more contained and more condensed. So think all the time opening, lengthening. So the jaw work, the skis here, open it out. Think about opening, expansion, but also strong movements with the ski. Good. Yes. Okay, good. So we'll just work with the falsibers, ski, fistibers, sorry, ski Jorangaishi. I'm going to do them in the reverse order. So starting first with 5. We're going to really use this movement, again, create the length, and think of the body, again, opening out to the side. So maintaining a sense of width through the body. You find this position. And in this case, just coming through and finding the strike here. Just working with number 5 and really work with this feeling of width through the body. So. Okay, good. So we'll just forget about the ski for now. Just focus, you're going from this position, really drawing the body up. So in this case, just leave the front foot where it is, draw the body back up. Really get a feeling of this. So you've got a sense of doing this kind of movement. Again, it's really kind of, for me, this is like a bit of like an archery movement where I'm really drawing out. So if you think about it, what you're doing is you're drawing the movement out and then you're pushing it forward. It's a little bit like we do with the cocky work, drawing the movement out and then pressing it forward. So just focus on the kind of feeling in the movement, where I'm really drawing something back, and then I'm coming forward with it this way. Now, what's true also with the archery is I can't just draw the body back this way. I need to have a sense of extension out to the front. So again, the sense of the width of the body needs to be equal, back and front, or in this case, left and right, but across the body needs to have a sense of this. So the same here, the sense of the front and the back is matched equally. But in this case, it's because it's a backwards movement, the feeling needs to come from the back, opening out here, and then release it. So have a sense of really widening the body and then boom, press it forward this way. Let's focus on that second, third movement. That's it. Nice. Yeah, that's it. Good. That's it. Hmm. Good, good, good. Nice. Nice, good, good, good. Okay, this is one of my favorite moves to do, apart from the hasa. This movement's really great. So it's this mid-level between the Jodan, ski Jodan Gaishi and ski Paya Gaishi. It's this midpoint where you've got a flexible motion. So you've got now this, what you do is draw the body back and then draw it forward. So you're going to basically bring this movement now together. So I still do the backwards movement. So what's different from the Hayagashi move is that I don't just come straight forward, that I really draw the hips back. So it's this, and then this. But it's done in a really flexible way. So again, this feeling for me is really like drawing back the body and then releasing it forward. It's like really drawing a bow and releasing it. The key is really the hips also maintain feeling of being down, 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 down. So it's got this nice quality. All these directions are actually being played now. So you've got the relationship of the up, down, front, back, really clear, and the left, right. The relationship's really clear with them. Let's try and really find the center of the movement and really work with all the directions being open. Oh, that's it. Good. Very nice. You got it. Nice. Ah, good. Great, great, great. Nice. Okay, good. So you can go two ways with this kind of training. The first way, try and break. One of them is that I keep this kind of, in a sense, keep the static form, and I try and basically kind of speed it up. But basically, I'm working the body as a kind of block. So try and in that case really start to release through the body a little bit more. So start to lessen, start to soften the form a little bit in that case. The other way I can go is I go too soft. So I start to work with these kind of movements where the body is basically being pulled out of connection. This is actually better than being used as a block because you can start to free the body a little bit more and tighten it up. In that case, just really focus on the center of the body. So I want to maintain that sense of flexibility and freedom, but I also want it to be really grounded. So I can be free and loose, but I can also be ungrounded at the same time, which I want to kind of avoid. So look for freedom, flexibility, but really a sense of being grounded in the center. So basically just watch out for these kind of extremes. Too hard, too soft. You want to be just in the middle. Ah, so good. Oh, nice, good, great. Good. Wow. Nice. Good. Nice. Nice. Good. Okay, we're just going to a Gedairashi movement, so and then we'll bring this together. But starting with the Kenkamai, right foot forward. just draw the body back, straight into the Gyan position, and then rock forward into the strike this way. So just working again, nice simple movement. Sink back, bring the hips back, coil in through, striking down towards the knee. And again, just working on this feeling of front and or side to side, left and right. That's it. Wash. Yeah, and again, this feeling of drawing the jaw back is really a sense of pulling back with the hip. So in a sense, it's got a similar quality to this. It's really not the same feeling because you're really drawing the jaw through the body. But in this case, this kind of opening out to the back. In this case, from here, opening out to the back. So really have a sense of again creating width through the body, and the jaw is going to kind of be drawn through that. So I'm also, this is a good position because from the Kenkamai I'm quite narrow. So I'm in a kind of narrow position, and then what I'm going to go into is a very wide position with the feet. So a much wider position than the Kenkamai, which really gives me a chance to open the back hips out, back hip out. So it's here, just get the feeling of draw it back with the hip, as if you're drawing a bar, like this. That's it. That's it. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, again, this is actually one of the hardest movements to work with a sense of width through the body, because again, it's very frontal and it's a low movement. So the tendency in the body is again coming to these kind of crunching positions, right up in these kind of positions. So in a sense, again, try and keep the length of the body, but focus on the width through the shoulders. So when we do this basic, really allow yourself with the hands to be quite wide. So you're going to feel it opening the chest out, and that the width between the hands, if I show from here, is pretty wide. What I don't do is narrow the hands too much. Basically, again, it leads to this kind of this, and just think of width through the body. When we do this in application, we're slightly closer to the body, because of the back hands at risk of being hit. But in this case, in the case of the Suburi work, think of width through the body. So it's quite wide, and the sense of it's kind of a circle through the body. This way. So it's a nice strong position, but just be aware of both sides of the body. That's it. Good, Roland. Good. That's it. Okay, good. Okay, we'll do one variation on this movement. I don't think we've done before, so you can do, in this case, have the sense of coming through from the back, and we also sometimes do in this case of coming forward high with a block, and then thrusting through, like we do in the 13 Kata. In this case, what you're going to do is, from this position, roll the body out, and I'm going to allow the jaw to move through the front hand. And I'm really focusing now on drawing the jaw through the hand, and then from here go straight into the sleeve. So in this case, this misses the blocking part out, and what it really does is now I just open the body, really draw through the hand, and then push the jaw through this movement here. So starting from Kenkamai, roll back, spiral, draw, open the body. So this movement, finding the hand, will really I'm using this because it's going to force you to open the body out to the sides, and then press through this way, that way. Just give it a try. A little bit unorthodox. Ah, that's it. Nice. Yeah, tricky. Ah. Okay. And again, this movement's quite flexible with the arm, so I'm really using this arm to make the movement. So this rolls through. So this hand's basically doing this and then pressing through. So it's really got a sense of flexibility here in the joint. So this rolls through, this draws through, this draws through, this, and then this way. So again, it's really got the sense of pulling in the sense of drawing, not pulling in the sense of pulling. So this sense of drawing something out, drawing it out into this kind of movement, which I want to link into the hip work, that, and then straight through into it that way. That's it. Oh, good. That's it, got it. Good. So we'll just bring these together last minute or so. It's like the 6-count kata, but with a different ending. So it comes here 1, 2 to the top, 3 with a strike down, 4 drawing back, and then 5 coming through with a thrust, and then 6 just coming back into the kamae. So it's the 6-count just with a variation on the Gerangaishi movement. So just here 1, 2, 3, 4 drawing back, 5 here, 6 back into kamae. And really just focusing on the length of the body. This 5th movement will force you to think about it, so actually you don't need to think about it so much. Just do it. So, there. Good. Ah, that's good, great. Good. Mm-hmm. Nice. Good. Okay, just 30 more seconds. Just when you do these movements, just really focus on the solidity. So although I focus a lot on flexibility, don't lessen the kind of solidity and the kind of impact move. So really find a position of being solid. Even this movement, there's a sense of being solid into the ground, but especially the striking movement, have the sense that there's really something in the center that's also impacting, rolling back. And now, especially this movement, this really a sense of being grounded in the body this way. So allow each movement to kind of finish, bum, and then you come to the next one, bum. So really find a position of solidity in the movement. So just the last few movements here, especially with a focus on the strikes. So keep the flexibility, but just allow a little bit more of a bump. That's it. Good. Good. So, good. We'll finish with that. Very nice. Hi. Domo. Arigato gozaimasu.
Domo. Arigato gozaimasu.
Super. Very good. A variation on the 6 count. Kata.